Well, we're here tonight to talk about the Meris MercuryX, and to kind of do let's call it a deep dive into the different sounds that it can make. If you're familiar with Meris's products, from the reverb side, there is the Mercury 7, which is, I guess, the forerunner to the Mercury X. And in the Mercury X, you'll actually find a couple of the algorithms that are in the Mercury 7. We'll get to that in a bit. Well, then if you dive to a collaboration that was done with Chase Bliss, there's a CXM 1978, which is like a lexicon-style studio reverb. It sounds incredible, but you'll actually find those three algorithms also here in the Mercury X. And then lastly, the way that the whole pedal is laid out is exactly the same as the LVX, which came out about a year ago, 2022, I believe, and is their modular delay. Modular because when you dive into this thing, we'll just do it real quick, you can see here all of these options. Let's get there. There's modifiers that you can do, modify anything with anything. There's modulation, there's pitch, there's filters, there's preamps, there's dynamics, there's the reverb, and then there's even the pre-delay. And you can tell most all of this kind of where in the signal chain you want it within the Mercury X. And that's where things get interesting, because by doing so, there's like an infinite amount of sounds that you can make out of this thing. Obviously, we're not going to make infinite sounds tonight, but we're going to have some fun. And I think let's just start with kind of seeing the different reverbs that are built in, and we'll go from there. So, real quick, the knobs up here, you have your decay, your pre-delay, your mix, and your mod. Those are always those things, unless we're in this mode here, and this is the text view. And you get to the text view by pressing once on the C3 knob, and then the particular parameter pops up, and you can actually tweak everything that you see here. So for example, the structure is tweaked by the decay knob. It's like the upper left, the mod depth at the upper right, and then you see like there's two here. So the top one is here, the bottom one is here, and the same with that. And that's how we'll kind of get through with diving through with all of these things. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and we will just discover some cool sounds. Let's start with the reverb itself. Let's see what we've got. By turning this all the way to the far left, we see ultraplate. That is from the Mercury 7, and this is what ultraplate sounds like. Now when you're here, you can adjust the decay here. So let's take it all the way up to like 100% because that sounds fun. Here, the high frequency and low frequency knobs, that's not how much of that frequency is in the reverb. It's actually how long those last. So it's kind of like specific decays for that themselves. So right now they're at 100%. This should be a lot of, just a lot of decay. That just kind of goes on. So right now you notice that that low frequency energy kind of continuing, it's building a little bit. So let's say we wanted to bring that down, we would do that here. And if we hit those notes again, or at least some of those notes, you'll notice that that low frequency does not go as long on that reverb. it's still there. It didn't take that out of, like, they didn't EQ that out. It just does not last as long. The trails don't last as long. So you can make it really bright by doing that. I just lowered that frequency down even further. But you could do the opposite too. You could bring that low up really high, bring that high down really low. So another thing, we'll take the decay down, frequencies back up. You can adjust is like the mod depth. So you could say you want it really deep mod, turn that there, and modulation. Apologies. So the modulation. And you can adjust the speed here too. So if you want it to be really kind of warbly. Or if you want it to be really slow. And then as you kind of tweak that to where you want it, let's go to the next page in that parameter. So you'll see here it says 1 of 3. So if you just click that over, you're now at 2 of 3. And on this particular thing, in the ultra plate, we actually have pitch here. So let's turn some pitch. So let's do like, a fifth up. And the pitch mix is around 60. Let's put it on 80. Here we go. Maybe take the diffusion down a little bit. Bring up some of the poly blend. But like the Mercury 7, there's different pitch vectors that you can use. So there's an octave up. Bring that pitch up a little higher so you can hear it. So I'm hearing some modulation, and I'm not liking what I'm hearing, particularly for this one. So I'm going to come back over to that page, bring that mod down. Mod down quite a bit. Now go back up, let's see what we got. Better. Pitch up. That's cool. Pitch down, opposite. Kind of gives a falling sound. Octave down. and off. One more page here on the reverb, and that's just there's a gate. So you can do a gate attack, or you can adjust the attack of the decay of the gate, and the hold of the gate. So with all of it off, here's what that sounds like. But let's say we wanted to take the attack 21 milliseconds. I don't ever really use the gate that much, and probably because of these sorts of things. There you go. So you can get some really cool things with the gate if you know how to use it, which, as you probably can tell, I don't really know how to use it. So it's never really something that I mess with, but it's cool to know that it's there. So that is the reverb. Let's go check out some other reverb sounds. Ultraplate. Now let's hear the cathedra, also from the Mercury 7. Just make sure those are there. Let's give it a little bit of modulation. Let's see what else there is in this. The pitch again, as before. Polyblend. Let's hear what that sounds. What does that bring in here? Take it maybe like to 60 something. Almost as a doubling chorus effect. And with some pitch. Let's do an octave up. Cool. The next is, after the cathedra, is spring. Spring is not on either of the other Meris pedals or algorithms that they make, so this is totally unique to the MercuryX. And bring that dwell down. So I wanted to be a little snappier. I bring down these two frequencies. And the dwell. And so actually I think on here, let's go over to the pre-delay, and I think, well, let's see, we're going to increase the time on this pre-delay. I think that will do what I want to do. Let's try that. Yeah. So increasing the pre-delay time to a really high BPM, in this case 60,000 beats per minute, means it happens pretty much right away. We already have all those turned down pretty low, but there's still a longer trail than I'm wanting. So I'm going to bump over to the dynamics because there's a freeze on, and I'm thinking I want that off. And I don't think anything else is on. And there's the mix. Those are all the modifiers. I do know it can get springier than that, as I've seen in some of the presets that Meris puts in here. So there's probably some more fun stuff in here to figure out that, and we'll move on. The 78 room, the 78 plate, and the 78 hall are all from the CXM 1978. So just going to see those a bit. Just briefly, here's the room. So like the CXM 1978, you have the bass and the treble, which again, if you crank those, that's how long those particular ones go. No, sorry, bass in the mids. That is like the CXM. And there's a crossover as to where the frequency crosses over between the two. So if you were to wait to see that, would be to bring the mids down. You're adjusting the crossover frequency between these two settings, the bass and the mids, and which of the parameters, or which frequencies are in the mids and which ones are in the bass. Obviously anything above the crossover is going to be in the mids, and anything below is in the bass. It's exactly the same as the CXM 1978. There's also the treble, treble knob. And then, like the CXM 1978, you can adjust the tank mod. So there's a low tank mod, which is where we are now. Let's adjust that a little bit. There's medium. So that's how much modulation is in the reverb tank. Let's take it to high. And here you also have a diffusion. So whereas some of the other parameters or algorithms, you only had the noise gates, or the gates, sorry. You have the diffusion here as well, as is taking the tank mod back down to low. Like the CXM 1978, you have a diffusion arcade button, which adjusts diffusion from low, medium, and high. So here's diffusion on low. Take that to medium. And then to high. And then to low. 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 And then to high. Now moving on to the 78 plate. It's the same, because the CXM 1978 uses the same controls, the same sliders and buttons, it's the same here. So you have the mids and bass and crossover. And again, mids and bass is how long that trail, reverb trail, goes in those frequencies. Treble is more of the EQ side of it. It doesn't say how long the treble frequency goes, but it is the treble of the reverb. Tank modulation, again, diffusion. So here's the plate. Moving to the hall, again, same parameters to control. Let's take this down. Let's move some tank modulation up to high on this one. Bring the bass up. Okay, so moving on from the hall, we come to the last two, which are completely unique to the MercuryX, and it's Prism, and it is gravity. So starting with Prism. So let's start looking at the different parameters you can adjust on this. You have the decay, which is, again, how long it lasts. And while that's going, let's look at this low cut. You actually, it's a low cut all the way off, so nothing's being cut off. And then as you adjust the low cut and raise it up, those low frequencies get cut completely out of the reverb. Which is pretty neat and something that you can kind of use to your advantage as you're tweaking the frequency that you need. I'm going to bounce back out of Prism, take it back here, because what happens is it kind of takes it to its default settings that Meris puts in there, so it goes back to this. But now we can look at the size. So the size right now is at like 40%. Let's take it up. 68%. %. And 0%. And dispersion is at like 100. Let's take it down. About halfway there. Take this back up to about 40, give or take. %. Oh, that's cool. Hold on, we're getting some pick action here. I like that. So what happens if we increase the decay up a lot? Keeps going, adjusting the size. Oh, fun. So that's really cool. And what happens if we adjust the distance? And that's just the first page of the prism. What happens when we go to page 2? The high frequencies, modulation depth, and modulation phase. So we can cut out some highs if we wanted to. So between the low cut and the highs, you can really pinch that frequency response to be just exactly kind of what you want, which is pretty cool. And then page 3, just the gate information again. Cool. All right, so last one here is the gravity. And let's see what we have here. With the decay at 100%, it should just go on for a bit. So let's see what we can do here. There's this tilt EQ. All the way up turns into a high pass filter. I guess we do the same thing, go all the way into the negatives. To a low pass. Bring the modulation feedback up a bit. The depth up. The modulation speed. All the way up goes a shift up. Let's see what all the way down. Shift down. The decay all the way. Everything maxed except the shift down, which is all the way down. Yes. There's some gain you can adjust. Let's try some swells. So that's the gravity algorithm here in the MercuryX. And that finishes this first portion of the however many algorithms of reverb there are in the MercuryX. There's 1, gravity prism, hall, plate, room, that's 5, spring, cathedra, and ultraplate. My math is correct, that is 8. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, well, what else is there? Because that's just the reverb algorithms. You have the pre-delay. Let's start back with, we'll come to a setting here, it's also blank, and let's see where we are. Reverb, this is the ultraplate. Let's see what we have just with this blank slate that they have in here. Alright, that works for me. If you go back one, you actually have the pre-delay, and you can, this is actually very similar to what you get from the LVX. So the structure of the pre-delay is like the structure of the actual delay on the LVX. So you have a standard, and then you have a reverse. Some of it, if you adjust the time, if you bring the time down low enough, it can actually be like a delay. So there's reverse, but let's go back to standard. There's digital, magnetic, which is kind of a tape modulation, and BBD, which is a, my mind's drawing a blank, bucket brigade delay. It's a little dirtier, noisier. Take it back to digital, standard. You have your feedback right now. Oh, what's that? Cool. But you also have right divisions and left divisions, so you can adjust the different divisions on things. So there's like a dotted eighth, and let's make this one a quarter. There. And you can adjust this pre-delay really darn high, like 60,000. And as low as, what do we get? Is it 24? So you can definitely use the pre-delay in conjunction with all the other parameters to make some really neat things. I'm going to bring this time up just enough that it is less of a delay and more of a reverb. Cool. Moving on from, we've already done reverbs, so let's see what else we have. We have different dynamics. We have the freeze. And this is what's really cool is with the freeze, this is, let's see what else we have, sorry. The compressor. Anytime you set the location to pre plus dry, it's the first thing that goes into the MercuryX, so it even affects the dry signal. I'm just compressing the feedback loop right now. That's wild. Wild. I love doing this because then like you just find some things that you didn't know were there before that you could do. Here's in the pre-tank or before the tank. And then post. Yeah. So there's compressor. Then you have the compressor link, swell. And the time on that is adjusted by the milliseconds. Sorry, I went the wrong way. What's next? The diffusion. Bring the density down. The LPF. Oh, but like with that, if you could just say, change it to the, right. So originally it was on the pre plus dry, so that's why even the dry signal was affected by it. But now I do that, change the location, and it changes where it hits. A limiter. A limiter link, and honestly I forget what the links, like the compressor link and the limiter link are. It's in the manual. And then freeze. And I think this might be a good time to jump over to the hold modifier. On the LVX, this is a tap tempo, but on the MercuryX, it's a hold modifier. And with the freeze on, let's scroll all the way to the modifiers. Here, it's number 5, hold modifiers. So it is, you can adjust what it's assigning, and here it's the dynamics of the freeze, and I'm going to do it to latching. So if you hit this, and it just keeps it going because it's latching. That freeze, it like basically turns it on, and then off. If we do the latch just momentary, this is really hard when you're sitting down. So, but really, really cool. You can assign almost anything to this. So let's say we want to do the, I could tap tempo for the pre-delay. Yeah. And that blinks in time. So that's pretty neat. A lot of different things you can adjust. So, and that's the modifiers. We're not going to really go into more than that on here because, just because I don't understand them completely yet. So in the preamps, you have a volume pedal, a tube, a transistor, an op amp. And those are all the same as in the LVX. We're not going to go over them now. The filter, same. You have a parametric, a state variance, a ladder filter, and that's it. Also in the LVX. I'm really only going to do things on here that aren't in the LVX. On the pitch, you've got a polychroma, a micro shift, and a lo-fi. So the lo-fi is not in the LVX. Let's talk about that. First of all, turn it off. Let's see again what we have just by itself. Let's go back over here. go back over to, whoops, pitch, lo-fi. I don't think they're doing this they're doing it intentionally because it's a thing right now. But this is probably closest to maybe the Chase Bliss generation loss, just not as pristine and as tweakable. But here's this. Oh no, I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong. Please forgive me. I jumped ahead. That's not what this pitch is. Let's get out of here. Nobody wants that. Just kidding. On the modulation side, there was a few things. A 79 chorus that is not on the LVX. Oh, I didn't turn that other thing off, darn it. There we go. So you can make it have a chorus effect, and it can be a chorus, especially if you put it in the pre plus dry. If it's just in the pre, then it's there, just not as distinct. What is next? Okay, a vibrato. Pre plus dry so that we can hear it better. You can go really deep on it. You can slow it down. Or really fast. Let's do really fast. Crazy. A val mod. This is also pretty cool because it kind of gives you the choral thing. You can adjust the speed. And the resonance. There are different sounds you can make. There's uhs, ohs, I, ah, e, yeah. Yeah, okay, so different, so many things. Wild. Manual, I don't know what that is. All right, let's go here. Next thing, the tremolo. Square wave shape. You can do a sine wave shape.